Amen. We just thank God for each of you. Amen. We thank God for what he's doing. Mm-hmm. We thank God for how he's moving. Yes, yes, yes. He's moving in our midst. He's moving in our nation. He's moving around the world. I know many people, they look at situations and they look at things that are happening in the world in terms of this plague, if you will, and think that somehow God is not moving. And somehow they think that God has missed something and that he's forgotten them. And I want to encourage all of them with the simple expression and simple statement of God is in control. Oh, yeah. And you say, well, brother, how can you say God is in control? I just lost my loved one, or I just lost this person, or these people have passed on, and the number of people who've gone on. How can you say God is in control? And I tell you that God is in control. He has a plan and a purpose. And there are people who have decided to agree with God and to say, Lord, whatever it is you're doing in this season, don't do it without me. I want to be part of what it is that you are doing. I want to be in on the move. I want to be part of your plan and part of your purpose. I want to make sure that my life brings you glory. There are those. And then you have those who say, I don't care what God says. I don't care what the CDC says or anybody else says. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do my own thing. Right? And now, when you refuse instruction, when you refuse to do it God's way, when you rebel, disobey, and live a life that invites destruction, when it comes, you can't say, God, I thought you were in control. That somehow there's a problem. It's like you brought it on yourself. Right? Yeah. If you ignore the laws of the land and you run out, don't pay any attention to the red lights, and you just run out in the middle of the street when cars are speeding through and you get hit by a car, you can't say that somehow that's the traffic lights problem or fault or the government's fault or God's fault. That's your fault because you didn't pay attention to the rules and to the laws of the land. You didn't govern yourself as you were supposed to in order to prevent that destruction from coming. So, you know, sometimes when we're in the process of going through dangerous, perilous times, our prayer is oftentimes one of stop it, end it, halt it now. Right? If we have within us a mind to pray, our prayer oftentimes is, Lord, stop it. You have the ability. I know I myself, there have been some times when I've been going through some things, and as I like to say, I was going through my go-through. You're going through some things, and your prayer is that, Lord, I know you are able to stop this and to end this now. And God starts saying, yeah, I could, but that wouldn't be good for you. And he oftentimes will remind me of the little caterpillar, right? Who's inching along and doing his thing, but there comes a season when the caterpillar is getting ready for a change or a metamorphosis. It has to become a butterfly. Now, in order for that to happen, it has to go into a chrysalis or a cocoon, right? And be held up, bound up, confined to a small space. Now, It's dark in there. It's tight in there. And he doesn't have freedom of movement. He's restricted. And then there comes a time as he's growing and changing and developing, he begins to struggle and to push against what is confining him. Now, many of us would look at the poor little caterpillar pushing against the chrysalis, pushing against the cocoon and saying, oh, we ought to be able to help him out. Nope. And get him out quicker or sooner. And we are tempted to crack open the chrysalis and let him out early. But see, if you do that, if you let him out too soon, he comes out undeveloped. It's the struggle inside of that tight place that causes him to develop the wings that he's going to use to fly. So sometimes you have to resist the urge to help. Amen. So that they can develop and grow. And the tight place is a place of development if used properly. Now, so God, he oftentimes will remind me of this because, you know, I've seen some people who try to crack it open too soon, and then when the polar inchworm falls out, he can't fly. He's caught in between. He's no longer a caterpillar and can't do what he used to do, but he's not fully a butterfly yet, and he's good for nothing. And then some bird flies in and just eats him because he can't get away. He can't defend himself. He can't do anything. So God starts saying, you know, some of y'all, you keep saying, Lord, do this. And he said, it's not time yet. You're not ready yet. I know what's best for you. And he starts saying, good Lord. Right? As you're going through this difficult season, this difficult time, God starts saying, I'm developing you. I'm working on something. I told you all things if you are in Christ now. If you're a child of God. He said, I'm going to work all things together for your good. He said, I didn't say all things would be good. They won't feel good. They won't look good. He says, but I'm going to work it together for your good. See, all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are the called according to his purpose. So God starts saying, look, you know, right now, folk in some tight places. Folk are going through some things. Oh, yeah. I mean, you see on the news right now, people who all of a sudden they've had some restrictions put on them by the government and this and that, and they getting stir crazy and they ready to get out, and they start saying, you know, I want enough of this social distancing and restrictions, and I want to get out. What I'm saying, give me liberty or give me death. What good is living if I got to live like this? And they start making these kinds of statements and declarations, right? Now, in this nation's history, people have said that. That's how we started the war for independence, the Revolutionary War, right? People start saying, look, rather than being under the rule and subjugation of the king, I'd rather go fight. And if I got to die, I'd rather die free than live a slave, right? So that's how stuff starts. So now we got these people who are ready saying, look, this restriction, I'm getting tired of it. And God began to say to me, he started saying, look, there's some people who are ready, who are anxious to move, anxious to do something. And he starts saying, you got to stay in the mold, stay in the process. Yes, it's a struggle. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, the place is tight. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But if you can just endure, when you come out, you'll come out stronger and better if you do what you're supposed to do while you are in the restriction or the chrysalis or the cocoon. If you use this time in order to build yourself up, to strengthen yourself, when you come out, you'll come out stronger. again, we've already said, hey, since everybody's home, or many people are home. We still have those essential workers who are out there trying to do their thing. But even with respect to them, you all now, people are a lot more understanding. People are home. People are working from home. Even the essential workers, we look at it from the standpoint of you have a little bit more flexibility now. And because of that flexibility, more than ever, you have an opportunity to come noontime. Before you sit down and, because you've been snacking most of the day anyway, so you shouldn't be that hungry come noontime. So, but come noontime, you have the ability to say, look, I'm going noonday prayer. I'm going to spend the first 30 minutes or so on my knees. Or the first 30 minutes or so just talking to God. Saying, Lord, help me. Have mercy on me. Lord, it's according to your grace in your mercy that I'm still here today. I wouldn't be here but for the grace of God. Have mercy on me. Have mercy on my family. Keep us protected. Keep us covered. So noontime, we start saying, use this as an opportunity to pray, because that's literally a workout. That's building muscle, spiritual muscle. So that when all this is said and done, your prayer life is going to be better and stronger. You're going to have a better relationship with God. You'll be able to do some things. You'll be able to lay hands on the sick and have them recover. You'll be able to, you'll have some power at the end of this, as opposed to all you did was sit around, eat your pandemic snacks, binge watch the latest whatever. Child, I'm going to catch up on the soaps that I ain't had a chance to watch. No. Somebody told me I could binge watch all of, whatever it is. You name the television series out there. He says, no. This can be an opportunity for growth and development. Now, like I said, he gave me 3 different areas to talk about, and I'm going to see if I can do these quickly. But the first one he reminded me of, because I found myself in this situation. He reminded me of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, these are 3 Hebrew youth found in the book of Daniel who were carried away captive with Daniel when the Babylonians conquered Judah. Now, there came a time when the king, Nebuchadnezzar, set up a golden statue or image. And he wanted everyone to bow down and worship this image whenever certain music was played. So now, if you turn to Daniel, the 3rd chapter, in the 8th verse, see if I can set this up a little bit. It says, wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king, Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Now, it just goes to show you're going to always have some haters.
Oh, yeah.
There's always going to be some folk looking at what you do, trying to find fault, trying to go and tell somebody about what you're doing, trying to see if they can't get you in trouble.
Oh, yes.
Right? Now, these three Hebrew youth, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they had been made aware of the punishment and of the penalty for not falling down and bowing down and worshiping a false image. They have been made aware that if y'all don't do this, y'all can get cast into a fiery furnace. But they had made a decision that they were going to serve the true and living God, and him only would they serve. And that they weren't going to worship a false idol God. And despite the risk of taking that principled stance and principled position, they were willing to go through whatever it was they had to go through. Now, I am sure that when they initially made that decision, they made it with this in mind, saying, God, you're able to keep us. We don't think you're going to allow this king or these people to harm us in any way. You're able to keep us. Right? There's sometimes we see problems or we see things coming or we see things happening, and we're praying with the understanding saying, Lord, you are a keeper.
Oh, yeah.
Keep me. Don't let it happen. Don't let it come. Keep me safe and secure. And the Lord is saying, yes, I am a keeper.
Yes.
Yes, I can keep you. Sometimes it may be that I keep you from going through a thing. But sometimes I have to let you go through something in order to develop you and have you become a butterfly. Now, so all this in their mind is, I don't want to go in no fiery furnace. I'm praying for the Lord to keep me. Now, look at them. Here it is in the 13th verse. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not ye serve my gods, nor worship my golden image, which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at that time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made, well, it's all good. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is able, or who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? So, in the words of our young people, which I like to consider myself one, it just got real. This ain't just some random rumored threat. You got the king himself telling you directly, amen, you don't bow down, I'm throwing you in. This very hour, you will be cast into the fiery furnace. It just got real. So now you had taken the principal position of, I ain't bowing down, my God's able. Okay, do you really believe that? Right? Some of these people who are going through what they got to go through, some of them have said, God's able to keep me from the coronavirus. Yes, he is. But now part of your testimony was also, my God is a healer. Yeah. So now, when it turns out that you got it, or you test positive, it just got real. Are you believing what you've been saying? Because before you was just praying, Lord, don't let me go into the fiery furnace. Lord, don't put me in there. Lord, don't let me catch it. Lord, keep me well. Lord, keep them folk away from me. Right? But if it's you who test positive, it just got real. Amen. Now, look at this. In the 16th verse, it says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. In other words, we don't take this lightly. We're not just being flippant. Right? It says, but if it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So they would let him know, our God is able. He's able to keep us. Yep. And if you throw us in, he's able to keep us in the midst of a fire. Amen. And if by chance he doesn't, if by chance I don't come out, I still ain't going to serve you. That's right. I'm going to be with my God. Now, I've heard some testimonies. I've read some testimonies of some saints who caught the coronavirus, had it bad. Amen. They came out singing the victory. Yeah. God delivered them, brought them through. Mm-hmm. And I said, my statement about them is, they know God on a whole nother level now. Amen. After having gone through that tight place, after being confined in that chrysalis, when they talk to you and say, my God's a healer, they know what they're talking about.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Because God healed their bodies. When they look at you and say, yes, he can heal you, they know what they're speaking from a place of experience. Yeah. This is not just some book knowledge that they read. They said, God is able. So God starts saying, look, sometimes I let you go through some things because I'm building you up. And you're making medicine for somebody else. It's not just you going through just for the sake of going through. But when I bring you out, I'm bringing you out as a butterfly. I'm putting you on a whole nother level. I'm giving you the ability to minister to others, to help somebody else out. I mean, notice, oftentimes when someone catch something or get bitten by something or this, that, and the other, and their body finally develops some antibodies, they literally use them to help them create the cure or the antidote. Saying you've developed some antibodies that we can now use to help us fight. Amen. Yeah. So God is saying, some of us, we going through some things. Don't be upset with God because he didn't keep you from it. Have the kind of faith and confidence that the Hebrew boys, young men, had. That if I got to go through this, God says, I'll be with you in the fight. I'm going to bring you through and I'm going to bring you out. So now, look at these young men. When we get to this 19th verse, it says, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. One of those, how dare you type of expressions. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it was wont to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. I got it now, child. I just got my test results back. I'm positive. Oh, I'm not feeling well. I'm going through. Right? You in the midst of the fiery furnace. It says, then these were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The very ones who took them up to throw them in, they died. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego go into the fiery furnace. We get to this 23rd verse. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound in the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There's some people who, they seem like they're down.
All right.
They're in the midst of this thing. Look back, they feeling bad. They did, one person who I know real well, she said she lost all taste. She couldn't, nothing would taste. She couldn't taste anything in her mouth. Constant headaches. Didn't have the strength to get up. Was down, but she was praying, and she had folks praying for her.
Yes.
Now, you're going through all of this. Then in the 24th verse it says, then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto the counselors, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. 25th verse, he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. God said, while you're in the midst of whatever it is you're in the midst of, whatever you're going through, whatever grief, whatever pain, whatever you're dealing with, he's saying, I'm with you. I told you, I promised you, I'd never leave you nor forsake you. I'm with you always. I got you. So I didn't keep you from going in, but I told you I'll be with you. I'll give you the strength to go through and to endure, and I'll bring you out. I'm going to bring you out on a whole nother level. So sometimes, as we praying, well, I don't want to go through this. He's saying, it's for your own good. I mean, some of us who, we did some sports or athletics back in the day. When the coach tell you to run that last lap, or I need you to do some more or whatever, and your body's hurting and tired, and you feel like, I can't go no more, coach. Suck it up. Because he knows that you'll be better as a result. If you could just push through. If you could just endure. When you come out on the other side, on the other end, you're going to be one of those ones who say, it was good for me that I was afflicted. It was good for me that I went through what I went through. Because it made me, it built me up, it made me stronger. Now I can go talk to some people. I'm going to come out with power. Oh, yes. They're getting ready to release this brand new documentary about Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. Now, Jordan, I think it comes on tonight, as a matter of fact. I just give that little plug. And, not that they paying me or anything. But now, when you look at that young man's life, I mean, in order to be as good as he was, he had to go through his go-through. Everybody else, want to go home and want to play and relax and unwind, and he's still practicing. He's still shooting shots, and he He's working on his game. He's doing all he got to do. He's driven. Sometimes God starts saying, look, when things get tight, things get rough, that's your time to seek him more. That's your time to work on your game. That's your time to get better. You in that chrysalis. Yes. Don't just chill. Don't sit around and do nothing but scratch your belly. Now is the time to get on your knees. Oh boy. You see, now when Nebuchadnezzar looked in and saw God walking around with him, then he brought, in this 26th verse, he says, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. Notice that because of what they went through, the king got a revelation. Some people are watching your life to see how you handle this difficulty. Whether it be, child, I got laid off. I lost my job. The place that I work folded. Oh, I'm in the hospitality industry. Oh, I work at a gym. I work in physical fitness. They closed it down. Oh, I can't go to work. I ain't got no paycheck coming in. Oh, you know, I got to get in one of them lines to get me some food. I'm going to the food bank. All of it, God says, saying, endure. I got you. You're going to be stronger and better because of it. And people are watching you to see how you handle it. How are you dealing? Are you willing to say, I trust my God? Hallelujah. I trust him with my life. He's able to keep me from going through it. But if I got to go through, he'll take me through. He's going to stay with me. He hasn't forsaken me. Now, the other place he took me was literally in 2 Kings. 2 Kings in the 7th chapter. Now, it's a story about 4 lepers. Now, the city itself was being besieged by a foreign power. And the lepers who were cast out of the city couldn't go in. And the city was to a place where they were starving and didn't have any food, and famine seemed like it was in the land. And they were saying, oh my goodness, what we going to do? Now, we pick up in the 7th chapter of 2 Kings, and it says, then Elisha said, hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, in the gate of Samaria. Now, it says, then the Lord, on whose hand the king leaned, answered the man of God and said, behold, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, might this thing be? And he said, behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. So this person saying, yeah, right. Even if God was to pour it out of heaven, that's the only way this is going to happen. And the man of God said, look, you're going to see it, but you're not going to partake of it. See, God gives his leaders and his prophets insight and oversight as to what's happening. God is doing something in this season. Now is the time for you to be prayerful and you to be listening for a word from the Lord. Because as we're going through this, as we have this economic crisis, God is getting ready to give you a word of how you will come out of this prosperous. Now, this. So here it is. This man, he don't believe. Then we get to this third verse. The third verse says, and there were 4 leprous men at the entering in of the gate. And they said one to another, why sit we here until we die? Here it is. There's famine in the city. We got the army over here, right? We sitting here because of this condition that we're in. We're starving. We ain't got no food. If we do nothing, we just gonna sit here and die. That's the feeling that some people have who are on quarantine. Let me go to work. Now, as you look at this, the leprous people, if they went in and did whatever, and it was not God's doing, they would bring that infection and disease and infect others. Which was the whole point of why leprous people were kept separate from everybody else. But they are saying to themselves, we got to do something. Now, 4th verse. They break it down for you. If we say we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we die also. So they said, now therefore come, and let us fall unto the host of the Syrians. If they save us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we shall but die. They had said to themselves, if I do nothing, I die. If I just try to run to the ordinary place of safety in terms of running back to the city and running back to the familiar and running back to what used to sustain me and all of that, I'm going to die. So they said, let us go to the host of the army. They may keep us alive. Sometimes God is trying to let us know. If you look at the situation and you take it head on, I'll use it to bless you. See, some people, they see a difficult situation and all they see is trouble. Other people looking at that same difficult situation, they'll see opportunity. And they'll say that in the midst of this trouble, if I can come up with a solution, people will come to me for the solution that I have developed. And as a result, I'll prosper in the midst of the trouble. So now, look at this for a moment. 5th verse, and they rose up in the twilight to go into the camp of the Syrians. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of the Syrians, behold, there was no man there. For the Lord had made the host of the Syrians to hear a noise of chariots and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host. And they said one to another, lo, the king of Israel hath hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come upon us. Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight and left their tents and their horses and their asses, even the camp as it was, and fled for their life. Now here it is. They got up scared, left everything behind. These 4 lepers going to walk in to all of this blessing, to abundance. Them folk left their clothes, their gold, their horses, their chariots. They ran for their life. They ran as if though they heard this noise coming. If they didn't have it on, they didn't take it with them. And God used these lepers to bless the whole entire nation. So now, when I look at our current situation, God starts saying, why folks sitting around? Why sit ye here and die? If you can't necessarily get into the office or get back to work, you can definitely be about the business of the kingdom. You can be praying. You can be getting ready. You can be doing what's necessary to build yourself up spiritually so that you can save a nation. They start saying, what are you doing? In the face of this virus that's sweeping the land, this plague, this pandemic, what are you doing? Yes, do your social distancing. Yes, wash your hands. Yes, when you're going out in the midst of a whole bunch of people, you need to wear your mask. Yes, all of those things. But you need to understand that more is going on than just that. There is some spiritual warfare going on. There's some things happening on a whole nother level, in a different realm, that you need to be mindful of. If you think this is all just simply a natural phenomenon, all about a natural thing, and all I need to do is make sure I keep my little body healthy, and then that's it, you have missed a whole lot. You should have known that it was more than just a natural thing when all of a sudden all of the world's systems started being affected. All of a sudden the economic system went into crisis. The education system is trying to reshape and readjust itself and start trying to figure out how we're going to deal with education through distance learning. And all of a sudden you start seeing other aspects of our society. They start saying the life as we once knew it has changed.
Yes, it has.
New normal.
Folks are talking about a new normal. Some people are talking about a new world order.
That's what happened too.
And you start saying to yourself, oh my goodness. I'm telling you, this is more than just simply, oh, some folk got sick. And we understand that God sets up kings, take down kings. We've been looking at this in our study of the book of Daniel. There is something else going on. And we need to be saying, Lord, I know you have a plan. I know you have a purpose. And I know this is all about how things are coalescing and coming together. I want to be in on the move.
Oh, yeah.
So what do I need to be doing to get myself ready for when all of the change fully comes to fruition? And we figure out what this new normal is. Show me what I need to be doing to make sure this gospel message is preached and that I can take care of my family and I can prosper in this situation. Because you said, beloved, I wish above all that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Lord, I expect for you to bring me out and bring me into a wealthy place. Now, in Jeremiah 29, in the 11th verse, God says this. He says, for I know the thoughts that I have towards you, saith the Lord. Thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And ye shall seek me and find me when ye shall search for me with all your heart. See, God said, I got good thoughts towards you. I don't have evil plans for you. I have good thoughts. If you would only seek me, keep me first. He says, I want to take you. I'm going to bring you to an expected end. I'm going to prosper you. All whatever hurt, whatever pain you carry, I'm going to allow that to make you stronger, and you're going to be able to use it to help somebody else. Right now we see where people, in order to help their neighbors, they're paying for other folks' groceries. They're dropping off baskets at people's houses. We're starting to see more acts of kindness. As I said, I'm going to use this. He says, I will work if you will allow me to work. Can I work through you? Now, we just came out of Resurrection Sunday. And God was in, and just like Peter, quickly after learning that God had rose from the dead, after having an encounter with the risen Savior, knowing that he was God, still after all of that, because he didn't have him with him every day and missed him a few minutes, Peter allowed himself to, I'll go a fishing, and to get distracted. God does not want us distracted by our own circumstances and our own situation. We so worried about trying to get a roll of toilet paper that we can't get on our knees to pray. He began to say to Simon Peter at the end of the day, Simon Peter, lovest thou me more than these? Simon started saying, you know, Lord, you know that I love you. And in response to Peter saying, you know I love you, then he starts saying, well, then feed my sheep. God is saying to each of us right now, in the midst of all that we're dealing with, whatever our hurt, whatever our pain, whatever our situation is, he's saying, I want you to love on somebody else. Feed my sheep. Feed my lambs. Help this lost and dying world. Love your neighbor. Even love on your enemies. That's the true message of the gospel. That God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, and whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Yes, Jesus loves you. For the Bible tells you so. It's a love gospel. Now is prime time, an excellent opportunity for us to show love to the world. Whether we are going through our go-through, whether we find ourselves in the midst of the fire or not, whether we praying to keep from going into the fire, now is the time to be ministering to others, praying for your loved ones, worried about somebody else, interceding for others. We can't be selfish during this time. It can't be, I'm just worried about me and mine, and stay away from me. I got my mask, you get yours. And, we need to make sure that we are concerned about our fellow man. And that they get the gospel message that yes, God loves you. And he died just for you. He paid the price for your salvation. And he even says that by his stripes, you were healed. There's healing available unto everybody. He can heal you wherever you're hurt. Whether it be physical sickness or emotional sickness. Jesus is able to heal, to touch you, to minister to you, to bind up your wounds. He's giving something for the church to do. We have to make sure that we are diligent in doing the work of the Lord, that we are using this time to not only build ourselves up, to not only get ready for that new level that he's going to bring us out onto, but to make sure that we bring as many with us as we can. So that when all this is over, when they start talking about things are going to be different, hopefully church folk will be having revivals and we'll see a great outpouring and we'll be reaching more souls, and we recognize that the harvest is white and the laborers are few. There'll be more laborers because we've been praying, saying, Lord, send more laborers into your harvest. Let's continue to pray. Let's pray for one another. Let's be mindful of one another. Let's continue to show love to each other. And for God's sake, continue to endure and to trust Him and hold on. Yes. And recognize that God got you. He said, I'll never leave you. I'm with you in the midst of the fire. And I'm with you. I'll take you through the flood. No matter what comes, I'm going to bring you, I'm going to take you through it. And I'm going to bring you into a wealthy place. And expect it in. Just trust God. Amen? Amen.